for growling vocals, Finnish language is the perfect platform. Our language is kind of clumsy. We have very, very sharp consonants. The whole the rhythmical syllable structure of the songs, it's so easy to growl. Like if you think like English is pretty round, Swedish, French, Spanish, Italian, those are like a stream in a forest. And Finnish language is like you drop a boulder here and it's just.
Tuomas, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Here we are again. And it's kind of funny because before we started recording, you were joking around that you have a tendency of showing up late for meetings, but albums are always right on time because, few bands release albums almost like clockwork, like you guys. Every 2 years or, maximum every 2 years, we see a new album. What's the superpower there? How do you keep such a tight ship?
I guess it's my habit of writing music because it's to me it's an ongoing thing. I can't just stop writing music and just wait for a year to get approval from the label or the management to start working again.
Yeah.
So far, I just finished a new album for my other band, Dawn of Solace, and going back to studio before the dawn, which is my third band. So it's just like natural pace to do at least one album amount of songs per year.
Right.
That which band is on the table at the moment. It is a constant headache for all the labels and the management. They are trying to tell me like it's natural, like a schedule to do like one album every 3 years. That would help media and the touring schedule and everything, but it to me it's too long. So I'm really part of the problem, not the solution.
Does that mean, are you somebody that can tell yourself that, okay, this year I'm gonna write a WOLFHEART album and next year another band, or do you just always write and you kind of figure out where the music is taking you?
Well, I do have always rough schedule on my table for next 18 months or so, knowing already when is WOLFHEART going to tour next year, what that means basically for the other bands, and when does it make any kind of point of start working on the new music. So I'm not just randomly writing, when I know that now is a good time to start working for WOLFHEART or before the dawn, then I start working towards the full album already. It's not it's just random songs popping up, but
you can kind of steer your own creativity, if you will. That's interesting. Now you mentioned, your schedule can sometimes frustrate labels and stuff like that because you don't play by their calendar rules. This album that's coming out is the first one with Reigning Phoenix. What makes them the right partner for you in 2024?
We don't know. The future will tell. Now we just hope that they are the best partner at this moment, because now it's 9 days for the album to come out. So that will tell a lot more of the whole partnership. But our contract ended with Napalm, and they made a tour for the next 3 albums. But we had the chance, and we wanted to use it to actually check out what else there is in the world. And Reigning Phoenix was just rising from the ashes of something. I don't know. I guess that is a metaphor. There's a reason why they chose that name for the label. It was still it wasn't announced yet. It wasn't like a functioning label when we started to talk about that opportunity. So it is quite a rare event in the music business to have this size of a label just popping up in this short amount of time. The last time this happened was when Atomic Fire came to the label, and before that, I think this is one of the biggest moves in the label world in 20 years. Mm-hmm. Which means usually that means something. There's a big players involved. They have a huge bands already like Opeth, Amorphis, Meshuggah. They signed Kerry King, Halloween, bands like that. So that is a good signal. And
yeah.
They made a best offer. Also, they were the clear winners from every point of the view. But of course, next week's will show more.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll check in and we'll see if they are ready to release the barrage of albums that you want to release over the next few years. Now, let's jump into this album. And obviously, I had a chance to listen to the full album. And there's a couple of really interesting things about this one particular. Now, first and foremost, drums have always been an important part of the WOLFHEART sound. There's no doubt about that. But Joonas's drum seems to be even more front and center on this album as it comes out in the mix. And it really complements the riffing as well. Like, you really remember the riffs and the drums from this album. Do you agree with that, or is that just me projecting? Is that part of thought going into recording it, that you wanted to have that part of your sound a little bit more in the spotlight still?
Well, a little bit from a different angle, yes. I wanted to have the whole guitar side of the album a little bit more intense and not that wide, and give more room for the orchestrations and variation of the vocals, which means that allows the drums to be a little bit more up in the front also. And the riffs are quite often very well tied to the drums. They are like doing a lot of things, like accenting things together. And I think it's also the level of Joonas's performance on this album helped the mix quite a lot, because there's no sample in the toms. There's very small amount of sample in the snare drums. A lot of the actual playing, what you hear, is him actually playing, which is really not the case in most of the metal albums nowadays anymore.
Right.
So it's just, he also brought a lot of good dynamics for the songs that you don't really hear. It's not like mixing issue, it's more like a production issue or matter. And he had some rough times with his lower back. There's been 2 operations. 2 times the same disc herniated in his lower back, and that can be a killer for the drummer. He had some issues with the nerves on the left leg. He didn't tour with us for 9 months. He skipped 2 European tours, 1 Australian tour. And we didn't even know if he's going to be able to do the album. But then a lot of good things happened with his recovery. And I think that excitement that he was able to play again, and there were some issues that he wasn't aware that was holding him back for years. That was basically happening at the same time with the back issues. And suddenly he's able to play better than ever.
Right. Yeah, he's liberated.
So that really can be heard, that how happy he was in the studio playing, how well he could try out things that he probably would have skipped before, because he he thought that there's certain limits that don't exist anymore for him as a drummer. So this it was a good album drumming for Joonas.
Maybe this is me over-analyzing everything, but I really like how this album flows from start to finish. And I feel like in the beginning of the album, the first 2 songs are a little bit more raw, a little bit more bare bones, heavy focus on riff and drum. But then as of the 3rd song, we start to get more and more orchestration and more layers. And it seems that just grows and grows and grows. And then by the end of the album, the very, very last part of the album, all the rock kind of falls away, and we only have the piano and orchestration left, which could be one massive metaphor for a journey that you go through of evolution. Is that me just projecting and seeing ghosts where there are none, or is there really a story there being told with just the music?
Well, the way I try to write music is to make a movie soundtrack, so that the music itself works without the lyrics and the vocals in a way that you can get this kind of idea that you had, that the music actually has his own path and story, and you, even though you can't name what it is, but you feel that it is meant be something bigger together. And that's how I also try to like build up the albums. Like I don't write huge amount of songs, like 15 songs, and then we pick 10 best of those, and then we just do a lottery with the track list, and then we have an album. But after the first song, I start building the album around the one song. So every song is designed to be part of the album and build the track list and the story strongly together. Which is the reason I never have a bonus song, because I only write the album and nothing else. Which is also like sometimes issue with the label, because they want some bonuses for the Asian market. They want bonuses there. I have none. I have absolutely no even demo version of different songs. And that's the worst scenario, that I need to go back to studio and come up with a song that is not part of the album. I understand how the music business works, and those kind of things are needed sometimes. But to me, it feels like complete waste of time, because the album is already there. The story is being told, it's being recorded and mixed, and now I need to come up with additional 3 minutes to please one label somewhere different side of the world, so they can do this like a bonus version of the LP or something. But yeah, the whole album is designed to tell a story.
We do get some Finnish lyrics on this record as well. And a double question for you, because, you know, when you do that the story I tell myself is that for you, the only way to properly say that message was in Finnish, because for whatever reason, that feels right. But then my question, or my double question, is it then also in a way, if those passages are really important, so important that they couldn't be told in English, is it then a bit of a shame that most of your audience will have no clue what you're saying? I mean, obviously we have, you know, Google Translate tools, and then you can provide translations and all the kind of good stuff. But even then, we won't get the nuance that was clearly so important, because otherwise you would have just done it maybe in English altogether. Like, what's your thought there?
It is a shame. I would really want everybody to understand those Finnish parts, but then again, they don't translate well. I have a different way of writing in Finnish language. Finnish language, I always write in a form of a poem.
Right.
English language, I write on the vocal structure and arrangement I have in my head. So then the syllables and the words and the rhythmics match the rhythmical arrangement I already have in my head. With Finnish language, it has to be a poem, because it's in English. I can distance myself. I can just zoom out from the lyrics. Even in the studio, I don't really think about what I'm singing. I'm thinking about like the tone and the distortion coming right part of the throat. Are the rhythmics like matching the drums or whatever, those kind of things. In Finnish language, you are always aware.
Yeah.
Like every line needs to mean something, and it needs to be kind of like done a little bit better, because but it is a shame. But at the same time, for growling vocals, Finnish language is the perfect platform. Our language is kind of clumsy. We have very, very sharp consonants. The whole the rhythmical syllable structure of the songs, it's so easy to growl. Like if you think like English is pretty round, Swedish, French, Spanish, Italian, those are like a stream in a forest. And Finnish language is like you drop a boulder, and it just comes down. But I've noticed, and I've got that feedback on the live shows and on the albums also. Like every time I do Finnish, it sounds more raw, because I do growling a little bit differently. There's a lot more pressure on the consonants, because it comes naturally and it fits well for the Finnish language. When I do that in English, it sounds like I'm overpronouncing. And it sounds a little bit ridiculous. There's only a certain amount of pressure you can put on certain consonants. Otherwise, you're gonna sound like you don't know the language. Yeah. In Finnish language, you can go pretty far, even in the Finnish language boundaries, and it still sounds correct. So it comes out more aggressively. So it does deliver that. If I would do the same in English, people would get the message, but it wouldn't deliver the same emotion.
you are going to be delivering, to use this as a segue, that emotion all over Europe first and foremost. You've got a Finnish tour planned that will give you a little bit more flexibility, freedom, and time, I'm sure. And then you've got a fantastic package of melodic bands that you're going on the road with. Obviously, I'm calling you from Toronto, Canada. When do we get to see you here? Like we're seeing a huge rise in popularity in melodic death metal. We even get some North American melodic death metal bands these days. Joonas, the one that you're very familiar with, obviously, is part of that movement. A lot of people listen to them and think that they are from, whether Finland or Norway or what have you. Can we keep our fingers crossed? And if not, what can we expect for these epic shows that are coming in Finland and the rest of Europe?
Well, we've been planning North American tour for a few months already. We have some dates. We have the package pretty much. We have a lot of pretty ready plans on the table. We are now waiting to get everything locked down. It didn't help to find out that the US visas went up like 250%.
Yes.
At the same time, when there's a lot of shortage with the vehicles, the gasoline prices went up, then there's the merge cuts that is happening more frequently. So there's always extra obstacles when it comes to North America, which always because I love touring in both US and Canada more than Europe. I've nothing against Germany or Poland or those, but I've been touring in the Central European territory for 20 years now. Of course, nobody can say that I've seen it all, but I've seen a lot of that side. But we are this close of getting everything locked down, but we'll see. I hope it happens. I really do. It's being able to grow in the North American markets, you need the touring. It's a little bit different in Europe. You can just skip the touring and do a few bigger festivals in summer, and you will get the coverage. You will get to play for thousands of fans. You keep everything rolling forward. North America, if you don't do the touring, you
don't exist.
Exactly, yes. So I know that really well, and I really want that to happen, but we'll see.
Keep our fingers crossed for that. There you go. Tuomas, I promised you that I would keep your schedule perfectly in order, and I know that you have busy days because there's, again, a lot of interest and attention hype around the new album, which I'm sure you're quite happy about, as you're becoming, well, you're not quite yet classic rock, but you're starting to get there. Awesome. Well, I wish you the best with this release cycle. We'll keep our eyes open, our fingers crossed for announcements that hopefully you'll make, and we'll just in the meantime keep watching all the content that is provided or created on your European shows. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.